righty. Here we go, folks. Welcome in, everybody. We're going to get everybody a couple seconds to get connected here, and while we do that, I'm going to take care of some housekeeping, make sure that Frank gets his gift card here so I don't forget. And there. Sunday winner is Frank. And his phone number is a number that I will not say out loud because I've learned my lesson about that. Otherwise, all the ladies will start calling Frank and asking, for dates and things, and who knows if Frank is married or not, but we don't want to cause problems. Didn't Frank have the J-Lo pictures popping up? I mean, all of a sudden Frank might get some unsolicited photos, and that would be kind of awkward, right? Where'd you hear about me? Compute this. Oh, that Thor guy. All right, so we'll let everybody get connected here. I'm going to get my screen refreshed so I can see your comments, and then we will get this train rolling. Sorry it took me so long to get connected. With Roger sitting here in the studio, we were talking about catching up on all kinds of stuff. Yep, so Roger is back part-time. He's going to be he's operating the board for me in the morning. Delaney was my board op before him. And she actually took a job with Impractical Jokers, the show that you've probably seen on or heard about maybe. It's kind of a funny show. I mean, it's funny for a while, and then after a while it gets a little old. But they basically run practical jokes on people, and they give each other challenges and things they can do. So it's good for a cheap laugh if you're having a bad day. But I mean, it's not like I don't wait for it or anything. But it was one of her favorite shows, and she was like an opportunity of a lifetime to get a job working on that show. So she took off to do that job. And boy, I didn't try to hire her out of respect to Scott because she was amazing. But it's hard to find amazing people right now. So you tend, like some businesses, if I see like an amazing person giving me service, literally I'll offer them a job on site. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to hire a Hy-Vee customer service person that's doing a great job up at that counter, juggling 14 phone calls and 12 customers and at a time. And I'm like, hey, would you like to sit in a nice comfortable chair and help maybe 14 people a day instead? And get paid more? And she's like, I would, but I'm going back to school. And then she ratted me out. Don't try to hire me. Shh, don't do that. What are you doing? All right, so let's see. Welcome in, Mitch. Hello, Deborah. Roger. I usually, in the Sunday mornings, you see, I can't run the coffee machine at home. Like I've got like an espresso machine, and I fill this whole thing up with like diluted espresso, basically. Americana, they call it. But Sunday mornings, I'm up so early that if I run that machine, it's going to wake everyone in the house up. So I have to stop at the gas station and get my coffee. So I'd usually stop at Buc-ee's because they have the fresh grind coffee machine thing there. And it's stupid, simple, and easy, right? Well, now they're not Buc-ee's anymore. There's a Speedy Mart or something over on 72nd and 370. They've got a new coffee bean in there called Highlander Grog. And on a lark the other day, it's got like a caramely sweetness to it, and it's not like squirted in. It's not like a bistro made coffee. It's not sugar water. It's coffee, but it's got a sweetness to it. It's too sweet to have a whole cup of it. But boy, I'll fill up my cup full of nice strong Colombian and then throw some Highlander Grog on top, and I've got my own little Witch's Brew blend here, and it's good stuff. I might stop for another cup on the way home. We'll see. All right, I fell asleep at the beginning of Radio Schrock, but I'm awake now. It's all right, Aaron. We all do that. That's why we post the videos later, so that you can go back and pick up the stuff. Learn how to save that $150 a year on your internet connection. Good morning, Alan. Randy. Good to see you all. Al, welcome aboard. Mary's back. And Winston, top fan Winston is back. Good audio. Thank you, Winston. I do appreciate you checking that for me, because the one time you don't is when it's going to be like, and it'll be bad. All right. Morning, Richard. Janet. Mark is here as well. All the top fans are showing up today. Almost settled in Georgia. I'm missing you all. Oh. For those of you who don't know, I've been trying to keep it on the down low because she was a fan favorite. But Shelly has left the Des Moines Service Center. Her husband got an unbelievable opportunity with Warner Enterprises to move to Georgia. And they have family down there, and it was the right move for them at the right time for them. And literally, if there was any amount of money we could have offered Shelly to leave her husband and stay with Schrock instead, we would have done that. The bond there is too strong. But Shelly has graciously offered to help us out with anything we might need in the future going forward. So you might see her from time to time on Messenger popping up still. And I did pretend to be you this week once, Shelly. A customer was thanking me for helping them out, and Shelly, you're the best. And I just said, thank you. It's like you never know who you're talking to on Messenger, right? Oh boy. Oh, let's see. Yes, Highlander Grog. Yes, that's the coffee. Cheryl and Rich are here. Oh, JB Hunt. I'm sorry. I thought it was Werner. I apologize. JB Hunt. All right. I love my hubby for now. That's a good one. All right. So, first off, appreciate all the prayers and everything for Brian. My father-in-law had a big old heart attack on Saturday. He had no, literally, he is the definition of doing everything right. I mean, he could lose a couple pounds in the middle, and I don't mean like, when people that are like 50 pounds overweight say, I could lose a couple pounds. He could literally lose a couple pounds and be good, like two. 3 times a week, he biked 25 miles plus on his road bike. He didn't eat a bad diet. He didn't smoke. He rarely drank. He went to work every day, and he was just one of those good, God-fearing guys. Goes to work in the morning, does everything right, follows all the rules, and out of the blue, he has this massive heart attack. He luckily had it in the ER because he wasn't feeling well, and his wife took him to the ER. He had the heart attack in the ER. Otherwise, it would have not been survivable. It was a widowmaker. And so he is currently fighting through medical challenge. If you've ever had anyone in heart failure, you understand what I'm talking about. How, well, the doctor put it great. There's no free lunch. So everything that they medically do to you to help bypass a system or fix something that's a problem creates some other problem that has to be mitigated or bypassed. And you're just hoping that you eventually get to the point where side effects on side effects on side effects are mitigated enough that the primary problem can be handled. And it's like, he'll have a couple good days and then he has a real bad turn. And then he'll recover from that and have a couple good days. And they're just about to take him into surgery to implant a heart pump. And he had a real bad turn last night, yesterday afternoon. So prayers for him are very much appreciated. Like I said during the show, I thought about setting up a GoFundMe for him and for Kathy, his wife. But I know if I do that, when he comes out of this, he's going to kick my ass as soon as he can, because that's not him. He doesn't want anyone's charity. He's the kind of guy that you have to sneak the bill away from the table to buy him dinner. You have to like give your credit card to the waitress when she's taking the order because no one expects you to do that. Then she's even like, what is this? You're like, you just need to hang on to that till the end, please. And then don't bring the check. I'll sign. Just bring the signature thing. And then he still leaves a tip. And I'm like, Brian, I already left a tip. Well, she's getting double tip then, isn't she? He's that guy, So we love him to death, and he's an amazing father and an amazing father-in-law, and just a good guy who followed all the rules. So if there's anybody who deserves a recovery out of this, it's him. So your prayers are very much appreciated for him and by the entire family. All right, so let's get started. What do you all want to talk about this morning? Let's talk about, we can kick off with Bitcoin. All right, so Bitcoin. I know some of you are super duper into Bitcoin and some of you are like, Jesus craft, Thor. I don't want to talk about Bitcoin because it's so boring. So I'll make it quick. Bitcoin rallied to $42,000 this week on a fake news story. Well, it was a rumor, okay? Fake news is probably strong, but it was a rumor that Amazon was going to start accepting Bitcoin payments, which would be epic if that happened. That would allow the masses to basically use their Bitcoin to buy anything. You currently can buy a lot of things with Bitcoin. In fact, you can go to newegg.com. Any kind of computer parts you want to buy or anything like that, you can buy it all with Bitcoin if you want. You're a fool if you do that. I wouldn't do that. If you have Bitcoin, do not spend your Bitcoin. You spend your fiat, your cashola, your dineros, and you hold on to your Bitcoin. Because, well, if you're like me, you believe that Bitcoin is going to be worth more in the future than it is today. I don't trade it back and forth because I always lose, always lose. In fact, let me give you a case in point. I had a small time mining operation going on one of my computers. Super small time, like $100 a month small time. And so I was taking that and I'm like, well, I'm going to putz around with this a little bit. I'm going to see, I'm not going to play with the Bitcoin. I'm just going to putz around with this little bit of, stuff I've mined here. And sure enough, when the price rocketed to 42,000, I had it in Tether, in a stable coin, which is like a US dollar basically. So Now if I buy Bitcoin, I actually have less Bitcoin because I bought it at a higher price. Now I have to be patient and wait for the price of Bitcoin to come down, but I don't believe that's going to happen anytime soon. I believe it's going to go up. Now it could drop down a little bit, which is I'm hoping that there's a spike down before it goes up again, and I can jump back in with my like $200. But you see, this is why I don't trade real money, because if I did, this is what would happen to me every time. So if you're like me, just buy it and hold it. Just own it. In gold and silver, they call this the stacker, right? If you're a stacker, keep stacking. Stackers be stacking. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with stacking your gold and silver, too, while you're still at it. But, you know, not a whole lot is changing here. We have too many dollars chasing too few goods, which is going to cause prices to go up. Maybe in the fall it'll be easier to hire people as the unemployment benefits fall off. There was a state that passed a law, actually, that... oh my gosh, that the state said they were going to pull they didn't want the extra $300 federal unemployment kick anymore, and a judge ordered the state to continue to do it. Like a federal judge came in and said, no, you can't stop that, you have to keep taking it. Well, if you recall back to that passage of that bill, to get the $300 federal kick, to get that $300, the state also has to kick in an extra $100. So it's actually $400 on top of the normal unemployment benefits. It's expensive for states to do that, especially when there's labor shortages. Why would you incentivize people to be on unemployment? You should incentivize them to go back to work by making it as painful as possible to stay on unemployment. Obviously, guys, I understand there are people who need unemployment. I know there are people on disability. I know there's, you know, we're going through this with my father-in-law right now. When he recovers, he is not going to be in any shape to go back to work. Just isn't. He may never go back to work. And, you know, they weren't financially prepared for that. You know, they didn't expect him to stop working at age 60. You know, very few people do expect that, right? We all joke about retiring early, but then it's like, what are you going to do? You know, you're just going to do something else. You're going to work at something different. You may as well get paid while you're doing it, right? So anyway, Bitcoin, there are rumblings that the technical pattern that they're seeing right now, because yes, there in the past there has been rampant manipulation in the Bitcoin market by large whales. Whales are people who have a lot of Bitcoin, and they can sell it off at really fast to drop the price down. Everybody else panics and they sell their Bitcoin, and then the whales come in behind them and just gobble it all up. And then the price slowly creeps back up, and it goes whomp down again, and it slowly creeps higher. And each time it gets a little higher because there's a little bit less Bitcoin to buy, because the whales, they don't get rid of it. They always buy back more than they sell. They're always accumulating. They're stacking. So are institutional buyers, it seems. Last quarter, when the earnings calls came out, institutional buyers were buying Bitcoin as fast as they possibly could. There is a huge shortage of Bitcoin in the market right now. You don't hear about it because there isn't really the Bitcoin news network. You know, you don't hear about these kind of things. But when Amazon said that when there was a rumor that Amazon was going to start accepting Bitcoin payments, and there was actually a job posting on Amazon's job board for a cryptocurrency specialist to implement something like that, the rumor caught and Bitcoin shot to $40,000. I was like, wow, finally we broke above 40 again, yay. Well, then it turns out Amazon had to come out and say, no, we're not going to accept Bitcoin this year. They just said not this year. They didn't say never. They didn't say that we aren't hiring someone to develop a payment platform to do that, but we're not accepting Bitcoin this year, and we're not launching our own cryptocurrency this year. Okay, so the news sold off a little bit, $500, $600 off the price, but then it held. Then all of a sudden, tick, 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 a little higher, 41,000, tick, 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 42,000. Now we're in that 41, 42,000 range. These are really bullish signs given the amount of Bitcoin that's in the market, because people who want to accumulate are seeing how fast it can go up. They saw how fast it can come down. It can go up just as fast. Next week, we could be at 60,000 again. I don't think we will be, but next week it could happen. I definitely think by the end of the year we're going to be between 60 and 80 for sure. New all-time high would be 63,000. So hold on to your hats, guys. It's not too late if you want to jump into Bitcoin. A lot of people think, well, Thor, Bitcoin is $40,000, and we all, you know, we're not like you, Thor, you know, Mr. Rich Moneybags Monopoly guy, you know, which I'm not either. I don't, you know, I'm not digging around in my couch cushions looking for $40,000 to go buy Bitcoin. I buy a little bit of crypto every month. I'm dollar cost averaging it, just like everybody does in their retirement accounts and everything else. Well, with regular stuff, I'm just applying the same rules to crypto. And it doesn't matter how much you buy, just buy a little bit. And if it goes crazy and bonkers, that's amazing. Like, I think it is going to go crazy and bonkers because why not? Everything else in the world's going crazy and bonkers, right? Anyway, so that's your Bitcoin update for the day. Watch for new highs coming very soon. Also, if you want to play this from a stock perspective, Coinbase performs literally in line with Bitcoin price. If the price of Bitcoin goes to $60,000, you definitely want to have some Coinbase in your portfolio. MicroStrategy would be another good one. The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, another good one. There are ways you can play this from a portfolio perspective too if you want to do that rather than actually owning the crypto. All right, no new comments on the Facebooks, so we're going to keep right on trucking here. Let's see. Oh, let me scroll back up. All right, so new data recovery tools. One of the things that's happened over the last year, obviously everybody bought up every piece of garbage laptop and desktop in the market. Most of those computers are not Windows 11 compatible. Which is going to cause a real problem. Microsoft is saying in the fourth quarter there's going to be shortages of computers. In the fourth quarter, Windows 11 comes out. People are going to realize their computers are not upgradable. There's no pressure. It's not like your Windows 10 is going to stop working. Although there's questions like, okay, every 6 months we get a Windows 10 feature update, right? What new features are you going to introduce into Windows 10? Because you're putting all the new features into Windows 11 and using that as a bludgeon. If you want this new feature, go to Windows 11. But these are feature upgrades for Windows 10. You're going to release 2 of them a year. Are they going to slow those down? Like, nobody knows what's going to happen. No, we don't know. How are we supposed to do a safe upgrade this fall? Like, safe upgrade for Windows 10. Safe upgrade to go to Windows 11? That's kind of tricky. So what we've started doing in the service centers is we've started labeling everybody's work orders. When you take your computer back home, it either says your computer is or is not compatible with Windows 11. So at least you know. We don't charge for that for checking. We just check. And then that way you know that there's something that needs to be done. Now, as far as the data recovery lab goes, when everybody bought these new computers, most of them had the newer M.2 or NVMe solid-state hard drives. Solid-state hard drives are, as you know from getting your computers upgraded with us, are incredibly fast, and they can restore tons of lost performance to an old computer. Old MacBook, take out the rotating drive, put a solid-state in. Mac Mini, put a solid-state in. Whoosh, they fly. So the new computers came with these solid-states in them. The problem is that solid-state drives are not like mechanical drives. That's why Drive Advisor is so incredibly important on a solid-state hard drive-based computer. They don't slowly fail. You might get a warning flicker, and then bam, it's gone. Like your computer doesn't boot and your data is inaccessible. It's like a light switch. Now, currently at Schrock, we have all the tools required to do all kinds of work on mechanical hard drives. We have a limited capability to work on the 2.5-inch, like they look like a laptop drive, the solid states. We can do a lot of things with those. But the NVMEs, they're just a microchip basically. And so the tools that have, it's taken a couple of years for the tools to really come out and be proven to be effective. Now they are. And so we're upgrading the entire data recovery lab and adding more tools that are going to allow us to recover data directly from those drives so that we don't have to involve a third-party partner in those. Those are more expensive recoveries when we have to put those third-party partners in, like I explained during the show. So if we can keep them out of the picture by having the tools in our own lab, that is obviously the best case scenario. So we're moving forward doing that in the Omaha Service Center. The Omaha Service Center is getting a lot of work because, you know, Des Moines is brand new. Papillion is about 2 years old. Lincoln is brand new because we moved the service center when they want, I don't know if you remember this, but when we moved the Lincoln Service Center, we lost a lot of business. Like our business levels dropped because people thought we went out of business or something. So we had to educate a lot of people. We're running TV commercials in Lincoln for the first time in years this month because we want to make sure everybody knows that we're still there. Well, we moved from 27th and Pine Lake because when we moved in there in 2008, everything, or 2010, something like that, everything south of us was a cornfield. There was a brand new development. There was no residential built around it. And we were able to get a sweet deal on a 10-year lease at like $17 a square foot or something, some great rate. In the intervening 10 years that followed, 27th and Pine Lake Road became like the money corner of Lincoln somehow. Housing developments all around, big money all around. Everybody goes there to shop. So goes to the mall, goes to the stores, everything's going great. When it came time to renew our lease, the developer was going to raise our rent to like $40 a square foot from 17. And we're just like, come on. I mean, yeah, we could have paid it, but there comes a point where you're like, number one, this space was designed to sell desktops, not laptops. It's not optimally designed for what we're doing anymore. We need to have a space that's optimally designed for what we're doing now. 3 desktops, 3 laptops. We always trying to find things to put on those long benches. And we called it the walk of shame. Like you'd come into the front of the service center and you'd have to walk down this long hall and you can see the person at the front desk. The person at the front desk thinks it's awkward too. Do you greet the person, hello, when they immediately come in the door? Do you wait till they hit the halfway mark while you uncomfortably stare at each other like it's a spaghetti western or something? Or do you wait for them to come to the counter and say, hi, how can I help you? There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, right? I mean, it was like that. So the new Lincoln Service Center follows the design structure of all of our other service centers, which is small business up in the front and all party in the back, where we got lots of bench spots, lots of opportunities to fix things, lots of space for the guys to work back there. Whereas the other side was full retail with a small back end. The old way we did it in Lincoln. So Omaha's looking rough, guys. You walk in there, it looks like a cave, let's be honest. The floor is rough. One of the lights flickers, and it finally burnt out, I think. It's not brightly lit. We have vinyl on the walls, but the vinyl hasn't been replaced in a decade, so the computers that are pictured in the vinyl they're like they look old. Like when you see a computer, you're like, that's an old computer, and you just know by looking at it, like the plastic's a little yellowed and stuff. You just look at it like that. They don't make them that thick anymore. That's an old computer. So we need to get rid of all that stuff, And so all the other shops have TVs on the walls. Omaha doesn't. They have one, but they don't have any kind of TVs. No Schrockaganda running on there like the other shops do. The lighting is poor. The floor is rough. So we're going to get the lights replaced, the floor ground, the TVs mounted, everything done next week in the Omaha Service Center if the floor guy is able to get us on the schedule. So if you come to that shop and it's tarped off on that one side, that's what's going on. We're going to do everything on the other side that week while they get all that done. And it's going to be pretty spectacular when it's done. So, yeah, we needed to put a little money into it. So apologize for the inconvenience there. All right. So I got to get rolling here because my wife might need to go out to the hospital here this morning. So I want to make sure that I am back in time to watch kiddos. And she's headed to the hospital right now, actually. So everything's okay. She's praying that he's doing better today than yesterday. So if you guys have any questions, the time to post them is now. All right, let's see here. What about Ethereum? Okay, Ethereum is also up. Ethereum is another cryptocurrency for those of you who aren't aware. It is currently, Bitcoin right at this moment in time is at 41,589. Bitcoin is at $2,587, which is a pretty marked move. It was around 2,000 before the price jump, so it jumped $500, which is like a 25% price jump for Ethereum. That's pretty significant, right? Why is Ethereum moving? Ethereum is a different type of cryptocurrency. It is used in decentralized finance. It's used to make crypto contracts. Without getting too far in the weeds, the Ethereum blockchain can be used to store agreements between individuals, almost like an escrow account. That I can't cheat you and you can't cheat me. And because we both trust the Ethereum blockchain, we both know all the details are there, I'm willing to take my cryptocurrency and allow it to be used to do other things. So I can stake it, which means I earn interest on it. I can send it to an exchange or send it to a company like BlockFi to pay me interest on it. I can use it in decentralized finance to earn interest in different ways. I can do all kinds of different things. I might want to create my own application, create my own online crypto business and buy and lend and sell and pay interest or whatever else. But I have to tell you guys, my BlockFi account, I got my BlockFi Rewards Visa card. I've been using that exclusively, racking up the points there because they pay out their rewards in Bitcoin. The world's changing, and a lot of people have said this is going to make banks irrelevant. And I don't think it's going to actually make banks irrelevant. I think that banks are going to get in on the crypto game and they're going to become the crypto exchanges. I think that's what's going to happen. That'll be a great way for the Federal Reserve to control it too. The challenge is the pressure. I have money in a US dollar stablecoin at BlockFi right now, earning 8.6% interest. Go get that at your bank. And that's not a money market account. Not that you can get that in a money market account. That's not in a bond. Not that you can get that in a bond. That's in a savings account. I can pull the money anytime I want, and I still get the accrued interest, and it compounds monthly. It's the miracle of compounding interest, just like you learned about when you were a kid, right? Save your money, it earns interest, you end up with more money. The more money you get, the more money you get, the more money you get. Pretty amazing how that works. That's how the world works in crypto right now, and the Ethereum blockchain is a big reason why that can all happen. So as the price of Bitcoin goes, it pulls all of the altcoins, including Ethereum, with it. So Ethereum has its own specialized use cases that make it valuable aside from its relative position to Bitcoin. So Ethereum can actually have outsized gains. Bitcoin's not up 25%, Ethereum is. So why? Well, because people value Ethereum for what it can do. Also, Ethereum is going into shortage because eventually they're going to stop allowing miners to mine the coin. And you'll have to mint it through staking, which I won't get into the technicals and all that right now, but it's a different way of mining a cryptocurrency that makes people hold the cryptocurrency and not spend it or use it, which creates scarcity, which increases value. There is a new update coming to Bitcoin in November called Taproot that's going to allow the Bitcoin blockchain to do the exact same thing that the Ethereum blockchain does. It's going to take a year or so for people to really build out apps on that Bitcoin blockchain. When that happens, Ethereum will have a competitor. So Ethereum is great, but I would not put all of your eggs in the Ether basket. Make sure you've got some Bitcoin too, because Bitcoin could eat Ethereum's lunch. Although Ethereum has first mover status. Everyone's got their apps all built on Ethereum. Why would you move it to Bitcoin for the same thing, right? It already works. Why would you change it? So there's first mover status there as well. I have some of both, honestly. All right, I have a Mac Mini. Love that thing. It's a 2010 model. It's part of my entertainment center. I'd like to upgrade its hard drive someday. Yeah, we do that all the time. We put in a solid state hard drive in there. The thing gets 4 or 5 times faster than it is now. It's amazing. Randy, I started looking into laptops in case mine won't upgrade. I'll find out for sure during the fall maintenance check. Otherwise, I found a company called Framework. Everything is super upgradable. I have heard of Framework. I did not realize they were actually selling them yet. But I'm always super skeptical of companies that say they sell modular laptops. There's another one that's being taken to court right now for fraud because they said that oh no, it's Dell. Dell's getting sued because their gaming laptop was modular and upgradable, and it turns out it's not. So yeah, that's fun. When the Federal Reserve gets involved with Bitcoin, the next step would be to tax Bitcoin. Well, of course. Well, they tax Bitcoin now. So let me explain how this works. Let's say today you buy a Bitcoin for $40,000, okay? Then Bitcoin goes to $60,000, and you sell your Bitcoin. You have made a profit of $20,000, and you will be taxed on $20,000 in profit at a short-term capital gains tax rate. Now, let's say you bought a $40,000 Bitcoin today, and Bitcoin goes to $60,000, and you decide you want to own some Ethereum because you want to diversify your portfolio. So you exchange half of your Bitcoin for Ethereum. Well, you just booked a $10,000 profit, even though you didn't actually gain anything because Ethereum went up too. You now owe taxes on $10,000. That's why it's really important to be really careful if you're trading cryptocurrency, because the tax rules are different than the stock market rules. It's a hybrid between short-term capital gains tax rates, like from a stock market scenario where you pay on your profits, and a commodity tax. It's a weird hybrid mix. The rules are still being set. Trust me, guys. Buy it, hold it, earn interest on it. If you want to make money on it, earn interest. Of course, when BlockFi pays you interest, you will pay taxes on the interest, and the interest is paid to you in crypto. So you had zero input. You didn't pay anything for the crypto, right? They paid you interest on the crypto, and at the end of the year, they're going to take the price of Bitcoin times the amount of crypto that they paid you interest, And that's what you get taxed on. So last year I got taxed on like $6,000 of interest. Now, did I have $6,000 in a bank account? No. But I got taxed on it. But here's the thing. Tax me. I will pay you with my fiat dollars. Tax me away. Now, I'm not going to create a huge tax bill to the point where I'm in trouble. I'm not going to be stupid. But I'm going to accumulate crypto, and I'm going to hold it. And if it goes to 100 grand, I'm not going to sell it. If it goes to 250, I'm not going to sell it. The first time I'm going to think about selling some of it is around $330,000. I have a lot of reasons I picked that number. That is the After Schrock Bitcoin analysis number. At 330, we are pushing the trend lines for what we can do before the next halving, when the amount of Bitcoin mined gets cut in half, which is going to happen around 2025. Right around when Windows 10 goes obsolete. Apocalypse! So when that happens, the price of Bitcoin usually either dips or rallies. It can go either way right before the halving. Then there's going to be a crash. If it rose up, it's going to crash. If it goes down, it'll go down further. And then it's going to slowly climb that wall again, and it's going to go to $1 million. That's what I think is going to happen. That's the Plan B analysis from the Plan B Bitcoin chart analysis. So if you think that's what's going to happen, I'm honestly hedging my bet by selling some of it at $330,000. I could be losing out on $660,000 of money, $670,000 of money. Just taking the taxes out of my head. But, you know, it is risky, right? And like I said, it's going to go down before it goes up. So if you sell it, 330 is supposed to be one of the peaks. That's actually like 390 or something is the peak. So if I sell at 330 and it goes to 390 before it crashes down again, you know what? I got mine. I'm good. Then when it goes back down again, I'm going to take some of that money. I'm going to buy my Bitcoin back. And I'm going to take this money here and I'm going to buy a mother-in-law suite for my house. And then I'm going to watch the Bitcoin go back up again. And maybe when it gets to $1 million, I'll think about it again. But who knows in 2025 what $1 million US is actually worth? We could be getting all excited about $300,000 or $1 million, not realizing that that's the cost of buying chicken nuggets at McDonald's now. Get the Dino Nuggets from Sam's Club. Tell you what. What happens if they tax it at a higher rate when you cash in? Very possible. That's okay. So the big thing with cryptocurrency is the tax policy on it. The government wants to make sure that people are not avoiding their taxes with crypto. How would you avoid taxes with crypto, assuming that was something that you wanted to do? Thought experiment. How would that happen? Well, the first thing that's critical in that is you need to have a private wallet. You can't have a Coinbase wallet where you store your crypto. You can't have it all at BlockFi. You have to have a privately held wallet on a computer where you have a backup of the key and everything else in case you lose the hard drive. You have to be responsible with your money. If you're going to keep your money in the mattress, you put the smoke alarms, you change the batteries, right? Because that mattress will burn now, baby. It's full of cash, you know. It's paper. It ain't that anti-flammable California stuff. It's paper money in there. Well, it's the same thing with your crypto. You have to be responsible with it if you're going to keep it at home. You got to keep it safe. All this stuff with my father-in-law, right before, it's kind of spooky, but right before that happened, my wife and I were talking, and she said, if something ever happened to you, I would have no idea how to access, how to move it, how to do anything. I would not know. And I thought, that's a really good point. And not just that, but you hear these stories all the time. So-and-so died and his crypto fortune is locked up forever. What if I had a stroke and I couldn't remember my keys or my passwords? These are real things that happen to people. So I write this letter in the event of my unfortunate demise, and it's instructions on how to get to everything and how to access everything and how to move stuff and all this other things. And my wife is like, what the hell is this? It just pops up in her email. It's just, in the event of my unfortunate demise. And she's like, are you still downstairs in the basement, dear? Are you okay? Like, was this a suicide note? What was this? Like, no. We were just talking about that the other day, and I had 10 minutes here. I wrote it all down so that you would have it. We can print it, we can put it in the safe, we can do whatever. And then that way, if something ever happens to me, you'll be able to, well, I won't know how to do any of this stuff. So the guys at the shop will help you. There's always someone that'll help you, especially if you give them a little crypto tip. There's always someone that'll help you. But yes, how do you do this? Well, you have to have a wallet on a computer that you do not make any transactions from. You don't send money out of that wallet ever. Not one time. Because that's where the records start, is when you start exchanging the crypto for things. Accumulating, especially if you use, say, a mining aggregator in Asia that's not subject to any kind of reporting in the United States, then if you're mining and your stuff gets deposited into this wallet, then you can turn around and say, oh, I'm just going to accumulate in that wallet. And you get one spend out of that wallet before it's trash, right? One spend, and then the paper trail's there. So when you do that, you make sure you're going to spend it on something you want to spend it on and spend it once. So when you buy in that property, maybe you write it into the contract that you're going to send some Bitcoin. And you pay the Bitcoin. Now, yes, you can still get hit and you can still get taxed. That's the thing that people think that's incorrect about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is completely traceable. There's a public ledger. You can obfuscate it. Just like you can launder the books, you can obfuscate it. You can do things with it to make it hard to trace. But at the end of the day, it's money moved from one wallet to another wallet. And if I know this is your wallet over here, I can look where the money went. Now I know Thor Schrock sent money to somebody here. I can compel Thor Schrock to come to court and tell me who they sent the money to. Now I know whose wallet this is. Where'd the money go from there? Oh, it went there and there. And basically, the government can build there are companies that do it now. A perfect transaction history. When Mt. Gox went belly up back in the day, people were tracing the Mt. Gox Bitcoin everywhere, trying to figure out where the guy was hiding it. Bitcoin is completely traceable. It's not a privacy coin. Now, granted, the government might be able to figure it out, but no private individual is going to know whose wallet is whose, especially if you use a different sending address every time you send. But a wallet's a wallet. And eventually, coins in a wallet can be, that's why they can say we look at whale activity. When you're looking at the price of Bitcoin, whales are guys that have a lot of Bitcoin, and when they start moving their Bitcoin to an exchange, that's a sign that the price drop is about to happen, because the only one reason they move Bitcoin to an exchange is to sell it. So you see whales moving their Bitcoin, that means it's time to sell. So it's a great sell signal. They also know this, so sometimes they move their Bitcoin and they don't do anything, and then they just buy more Bitcoin and they move it all back to their wallet. So you got to be careful, right? So with Bitcoin, people think it's a super privacy coin that the government can't trace or find. It's going to be the demise of Western finance or something. No, this is what Western finance is supposed to be, always has supposed to have been, where savers are rewarded with interest on their money. People who want to borrow pay a reasonable interest rate for borrowing. They don't pay 26%. They don't pay 2%. 6, 8%, somewhere in there. 5%, 9%. Depends on your credit, all that kind of stuff. So that's how the world is supposed to work, or has worked anyway since Bretton Woods, since the conclusion of World War II, which is what most of us remember, right? What we're living in now is something that's totally different. This is, they call it Keynesian economics, modern monetary theory. And the modern monetary theory is you can print your way out of anything. It historically has not always worked out. In fact, I don't know historically that there's ever been anybody who's been able to print their way out of anything. But maybe it's different this time, right? Could be. So, yeah, I've got some U.S. dollars, and I still accept U.S. dollars in all of my service centers. If you want to pay me in Bitcoin for computer work, I would be happy to take your Bitcoin. I'm just going to stack it. I'm not going to give it away. I'd be happy to take your Bitcoin. Elon's going to take Bitcoin again for Teslas eventually, because he's happy to take your Bitcoin, because especially if you think it's going to go up. So the challenge here, guys, is to make sure that you're keeping everything diversified. I'm not telling you to dump the U.S. dollar. What I'm telling you is China has made a rare misstep in crushing their technology sector like they've been doing. It defies logic what they're doing. Unless you're communist. See, it defies Western logic. But if you're communist, no one can have more power than the central party. And if these tech giants, imagine if the government said Facebook has too much power and we need to shut them down. That's literally what's happening in China. Now, some people are like, yeah, do it, boy. That's not the way that Western governments work. That's not the way Western society and capitalism works. So China had their Chinese capitalism with a hint of socialism. Well, now we're learning it's Chinese socialism with a hint of capitalism, as long as you're doing what they approve you to do. And you never know from week to week or month to month what they're going to approve you to do. So China's made a rare misstep here. They're booting all the cryptocurrency markets to the Western countries, and it's moving. The Bitcoin hash rate's going back up. It's back over 100 exahashes again, up 110 as of last night. It's a 2% gain over the lows. It's coming back. It's all coming back. And it's coming back in the Western countries because China banned it. Rare misstep for China. They're going to pay for this in the long run when they end up with a whole bunch of dollars that may or may not be worth much, and everybody else has a bunch of crypto. Now, of course, the logical thing to happen here is to have crypto-backed dollars, right? So think of a central bank currency that is backed by cryptocurrency. So you could exchange it. It's almost like a gold standard. The big problem with the gold standard, we can never go back to a gold standard because we've printed too much money. There's not enough gold in the world to go back. And if we did go back to a gold standard, the price of gold would go sky high. It would have to necessarily go sky high. That's been one of the reasons people who stack precious metals have been saying, this is why you have precious metals. It's got to eventually go up. This whole world's going to crash up. But they've been saying that for like 20 years. It's going to crash eventually, and you're going to have the precious metals in a barter economy. Yeah, I've got some precious metals. I mean, I'm not staking the future farm on it or anything, but I've got some. So that if I had to barter for a chicken, I could barter for a chicken, you know. But, you know, I might get a few chickens, but you know, I'm not gonna be feeding Jesus feeding the masses with my chickens, if you know what I mean. You know, a dollar backed by crypto makes a lot of sense. People assigning value to cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of cryptocurrency there. The price of cryptocurrencies is not really something that the average person is aware of. So if it inflated massively, if it went to $10 million a Bitcoin, for example, in order to have enough market cap to cover all the US dollars in existence, there you go. There's already stable coins, right? And the Fed wants to regulate those. They're terrified of stable coins because you can hold a stable coin instead of holding a dollar. You get all the benefits of holding a dollar. It's pegged to the dollar, but none of the liabilities. You get all the interest, you get all the goodies, and if you want your dollars back, you can get your dollars back. Isn't that handy? Fed's terrified of that. And that's why they want to regulate stable coins. But the problem is if you regulate stable coins, by default you're regulating all the other coins because traders, you can't trade in and out of dollars. So it's not like with stocks where you buy a stock and then you sell the stock for dollars and then you take your dollars and you buy another stock. You take your dollars and you buy crypto. And then you trade crypto for crypto for crypto for crypto until you're ready to be out. Then you trade for dollars at the end, right? So there's cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and there are stable coins that are pegged to the US dollar. For every USDC stablecoin, there is $1 held in a bank account in reserve. If they want to print more stablecoin, they have to have more deposits coming in. What do you think the exchanges do with all the dollars that you send in? They get more stablecoin. And then they can trade the stablecoin for other crypto they need to fill their exchanges. The problem is the exchanges are literally running out of Bitcoin. They're having trouble getting enough to actually handle trades. Not people pulling Bitcoin off, but just handling the trades. So the problem that you have now is there's a shortage of Bitcoin. And when that happens, well, we all know what happens during shortages, right? That's common life right now. Bitcoin shortage. Alrighty, let's see here. What happens if they tax cryptocurrency at higher rates when you cash in? Well, then you pay more taxes. And you get to keep, it's like winning the lottery, right? I mean, if you win the lottery, they take like half, right? So I'm sure there'll be tax advisors that tell you exactly how to cash in your crypto, how much to cash in a year, cash it in like a retirement account maybe. Keep your annualized earnings low. Maybe you set up family trusts instead. And basically the crypto is held by the family trust. There's lots of different ways that, trust me, get an accountant and they'll help you out with that. We had computers in for maintenance checks the past week. Where is the notice on my receipt of my computer is Windows 11? It should be actually on the when you picked up the computer, you had a piece of paper and listed out as each thing that we did on it. So there should be a maintenance checkup and a price. Underneath that, it should say your computer is Windows 11 compatible or is not. If that's not on there, shoot me an email or call the service center and let them know that that was not on there so that we can get that corrected as a training point. Every invoice I have looked at has had it on there, but it's something a human has to do, so it's possible a human forgot. If that's the case, let us know and we'll make sure we get it corrected for you. Oh, I was in the Omaha shop. Next comment. Okay, so I will make sure that Parker knows that the Omaha Service Center needs to watch out to make sure that they're putting that on every invoice. He can also go back through the invoices and check and see if that was an anomaly or not. But we do check each computer, whether it's Windows 11 compatible or not. A lot of times if you call into the service center, we can take a look at the specs of your computer over the phone and let you know whether or not it's compatible. I own Grayscale in my Roth account, and so I will not pay taxes on gains. There you go. The way the government's printing money, it's worse than Weimar. Well, it is. I mean, we're not at wheelbarrows yet, though, right? Well, let's see. A lot of people talking investment advice. That's out of my league. Oh, yeah, here's Aaron talking about wheelbarrows. Yeah, so I went there. Yep. Yep, that's right. And that starts a war. So here we go. So I think we see how this is going to end, right? History never repeats itself, but it often rhymes. All right, guys, got to roll. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate all the prayers for Brian. Keep it up for us. We really, really, really appreciate that. And we'll see you again next Sunday for another edition of Compute This.